Hello, hello, everybody. How you doing out there? It's time. I think it's time. I hope it's time. Let me see here. All right. I think we are live. I hope we are. I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. You can see me. First time using this software to go live. So I hope it goes good. So basically, you guys have been killing it in the 30-day art challenge, man. It's been impressive. It's been inspirational for me too. So it's just so much fun, and to see you guys growing and sharing. And if you're, if you were afraid to share before and you've been sharing, then congratulations to you. And if you haven't shared yet and you're posted your work, just go ahead and do it. You know, here we're going to learn how to fail and love it. All right. Imagine that. If you're a perfectionist, that will scare you to hear that, but it'll also get your attention, right? So phase 3 of the art drawing challenge is to create a unique character. So that's what I'm going to try and cover with you today, some steps for that. So basically, it all revolves around your idea, okay? And your idea is king. Your concept is king, really. So the first thing we really want to do is kind of make a mood board, all right? And so a mood board is what the professionals in the TV, film, animation, game business refer to for a place where it's a kind of an aggregator for all your ideas, your inspiration for your game, film, TV. It could be colors, textures, moods, right? And specific reference, characters, props, and so on. And in fact, I have a mood board here. This one looks like it's kind of for a Pirates of the Caribbean kind of movie. And it's got the characters, props, swords, guns, locations. You can see the Skull Island, the ship, and also kind of like color reference. What's going to be the mood of this particular movie or even scene. So the mood board is very helpful for all that kind of stuff. So we have an abbreviated kind of mood board here that we're going to work with, but you kind of want to gather reference. So you can do a Google search, you can do a Pinterest search and put it on a Pinterest board. If you do a Google search, just whatever you end up getting, just put it in a folder on your computer and then open it up, and then kind of curate this stuff and put it into Photoshop. So let me open up here some of this reference. Okay, so this is an abbreviated mood board, right? And it's got some of the key ingredients that we're going to need to create a unique character. So what you want to do is curate everything that you've got and kind of whittle it down, and then arrange it in Photoshop or Procreate, or just even you could print it out and pin it up, right? So just have it in an organized way where you can see the reference pretty well. And so I've set it up so we have mood board reference on the left, and on the right, a place to draw. And that'll be the easiest way, the most organized way I can think of. And so you can also use a program or an app called PureRef. PureRef is a great app that just sort of hovers above and on top of Photoshop. So it's always there. So that works really well. I would recommend one. And so the first step is basically, gathering the reference and, in that, I think in your mood board, find some inspirational artists. Okay. So let me show you uh, what I mean by that. This will be part of the mood board here. Let me grab this tab. Okay. So I've gathered together some creative portraits for inspiration, and I'm gathering that you can see this. I hope you can see this. Okay. So there's a few really cool artists here. One is Dave Mckean. He's been around for decades, but he did the Sandman book covers and inside illustrations, and he was a master at creating imagery and combining things to create these great metaphors. So you can see the books combined with the face and the body. So this person's a fount of knowledge, kind of a bookworm, perhaps. And so he does that in a very clever way. I've always loved his work. We have Laura Rubin, and she's great at having things just emerge or combining things. And that's the whole point of this. We're going to combine an element with a portrait. And the elements are going to be the things that we drew in the first week. So we drew a leaf and crystal, an ear, and so on, right? But the sky's the limit. You could actually use any element and combine it with your portrait. So here she's combined some flower type plants, and it's a kind of a puzzle that's opening up. This guy, I could make it on Instagram. He's got some wonderful art that combines almost anything with a portrait, and you may have seen his stuff. It's out there. Where's another example? Here's something else. So he's combining these peacocks, right? So birds. He has people smoking, and they have band-aids on their face. And so it's really, really something. Here's another one with birds. Okay. Just beautiful stuff. So it ranges from simple, right, to complex. Here's another Dave Mckean. So he's got some horns growing out of the top of the head. We have this flower kind of theme. Flowers are all over the face, combined in beautiful ways. I love that. Right? There's Laura Rubin again. She's combining wings. And so this, you can put this in your mood board. I love how he's combined this books together with her face. It's so cool. And then butterflies, right? Flowers. The sky's the limit. So the point is to have fun and create something new, create something unique, and challenge yourself. Okay, it's always a challenge. All right, let me just check really quick here. So put all that stuff together, inspiration plus your element, and you are going to be good to go. So let's jump back into Photoshop here. Very good. Okay. What am I gonna do? Okay. So I've got a little space here to draw. So I want to, create a little frame here. And it's a good idea to create a format, create a frame that you can work in. And these thumbnails are going to be small, bare bones kind of information, just the most basic information. It's compositional. It has to do with who's in the shot, what's in the shot, and everything that you're editing out. And I have some flowers here. I have a skull, bird. You can see I got an octopus, and then I have a few really good reference photos. You're going to need some good, clear reference photos to work from as a base, so you can add to that. And so let me just kind of jump in and try to combine, start an idea. So this is just going to be, a line drawing. I'm just kind of looking at my reference. You can combine a couple of different references, from here, a couple different faces. And the point is, if your idea is clear, then you can spend many hours rendering, right? But if it's not clear, if it's not good, if you don't believe in it, you can spend all that time, rendering, and the end result maybe isn't so pleasing. So you'll want to spend time, maybe a good 2-3 hours doing some reference sketches and taking your time with it, right? Don't have to be perfect. Um, I'm not going to put too much detail. It's not for detail whatsoever. It's just kind of for what's the position of the head, right? In the shot, what's in the shot. I don't like that. Let me just separate this because I want to move it. I want to move it down a little bit. I need some room for some of these elements that I'm going to put in there. Now, I forgot to mention, you could go ahead and just draw onto the reference if you want it. You could take like a wing, and add it to the reference. Okay, so I can put, wings somewhere and just kind of see that way if that's something I want, if it's working, right? So that's one way to do it. All right. Another way to do it is to just go ahead and draw it. Okay. And so that's what I was kind of doing, but I wanted to show you that you can just draw right on top of the photo. So there's two ways, and I'll show you the second way. But let's see, let's go back to back. Okay, so here's my, woman. I'm going to make her kind of looking camera right. And then I want to add some, let's say bird wings. Okay. So I'm just going to be checking out my reference, And I would say, let's go for a big or a small, medium, and big kind of workflow. Okay. So just go ahead and I would say start small first. That's always good. It can be a little overwhelming, but let's say if you have a goal to shoot for, let's go small at first. Okay. So we're just going to add a little bit of this element and see kind of how do we feel about it. Because we might want to feature the portrait face and the element secondarily. And so the portrait, the woman is the star of the show here. Okay, so she's there, and we have our little element added, right? Maybe she has a little earrings that are bird feathers. And let's just say, okay, we're cool with that. That's our small. All right, let's kind of take this and make it small. So what I'm going to do here is just make a few of these. And that's how we do the process of ideation here. It's just an iterative process that we can explore ideas. You never want to really just go with your first idea, right? Because you want to do, maybe 5 to 10. Just get the bad drawings out first, right? Because the better stuff might be your first idea, but it's underneath the surface in the subconscious. So you want to give you know, yourself a chance to explore things that are there, right? And so that usually just needs repetition, iteration, as they call it in the business. Okay, so now let's move on to, let's say, a medium. I'm just going to erase this I put here. Photoshop really speeds this up. Okay. So now I'm going to go with, something medium. So what could that be? Maybe that could be, just covering, maybe it's this, right? I could have lots of different reference um, of, wings and stuff here. That would be really helpful, right? So she's got some on the other side as well. Maybe it kind of comes down over her forehead a little bit. So I'm just, planning this out. Do I like the composition? Is she big enough? Is the figure ground relationship attractive in this? In other words, the background and the figure, is it interesting, right? And maybe she has some feathers here too. And so that could be a medium using the reference a little bit bigger, right? Okay. See, I haven't really hit on anything yet. It's going to take a little while to get to something that I just think is, awesome. Right. So let's keep going. And then we can do, a big one. I'd recommend, just staying with one model and just work with that same one, over and over. And you'll get familiar with it. You'll get warmed up. Um, and your drawings they'll get better. So what if we wanted to add, like a flower or something like that? Like, I kind of like this flower right here. Is there something that I can do with that? Maybe she's coming out of the flower. So her head is inside the flower. And so one thing you want to do is before maybe you jump into this is practice with the elements. Do a study, of the flower or the bird wing and get familiar with it. And that way you'll gain confidence when you go to combine it with the portrait. And I think that is a really great way to work. I'd recommend that. So nothing's really, easy. So this one's a little more involved than the first two, right? I'm putting her head inside this flower because I'm just trying stuff out. I don't know what's going to work, but it's kind of like the way, an artist mind works is they see two things, right? Like a cup or a mouse, right? A computer mouse. And then they see, a something else in that, like a jet fighter or some kind of science fiction vehicle. And they combine those two things. So you can combine a bird with a mouse or anything else and see what you can come up with. Now, I'm not doing shading much at all. I'm just trying to develop the idea. That's why they call it ideation. Idea is king. Ooh, okay. And so maybe that's fun. Maybe I really am having fun with that. It takes some back and forth. I might have to do this a few times before I get things right as far as proportion, as far as placement. How do I really get that person's face inside? There's a little sense of shadow right there. Okay, so that's that. So I tried, and maybe it's just something so cool that I never thought I could do. You can surprise yourself. I'm gonna take out the neck because maybe it's just a flower with the head. Okay, so that not too bad. It's kind of fun. I like that idea. Almost looks like a hat from the 17th century, right? Those old farmers used to kind of wear these kind of like pilgrim hats, you know. Okay, so there's that idea. Okay, cool. So that's kind of how it goes. I just had three there for you, three ideas. And you can do, a kind of a, right, go from small to medium. So let's say this last one, maybe it was large, you know. So small, medium, large, and then you can kind of see, what really works. What's you want to push, you want to develop your idea and also push your idea too far. This might be not enough. This might be, too much. And you'll find something in the middle, maybe. But you don't know what's too much until you push it too far. And so that's a good rule to go by. So if you're kind of thinking, you know, How do I combine this? Use the big, medium, small approach. All right, if I took her face here, let's just combine this stuff. I'm just going to cut that out, and maybe I can, make it a little bit smaller, and then I'll make this the big application of the element compared to the portrait, right? So she's a lot smaller, and she fits inside of this this flower now. And I kind of like that. I like that better. So it would take me, 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 drawings to get it to where I think, oh, that's cool. I want that aha moment. And one of the ways that you can use to judge this, how do I know what's good? Just use your gut instinct. If it's a hell yes, if it's a thumbs up, and it's good, trust your gut that that's good. And if it's a or no way, then it's not good and move on. Okay, so I would use that method. So there we are. Let's see. There's another way. So this was the first way. That's the second way. You draw on the photo. The second way is you can do iterative thumbnails, right? And there's a third way. So let me show you that way. And this is called, photo bashing or kit bashing. And so what it is I could take this, this octopus, and I could sample it and then paint it, onto my character, right? I could take parts of it and just paint it on there, right? And this way you could do a photo collage in Photoshop and work it all up and then paint it, right? You just kind of use the photos and experiment. Right? So that's kind of a fun thing to do. Do it like that, right? Or I could take this bird wing and move it up over here. I could replace the eye a little bit and just keep sampling different parts of it. And just work it up, So if you need a step, I recommend doing this step too, because it's pretty direct and it's using, it's going right off the photo reference. I like that part of the neck right there. That's cool to add like a texture. Right? And you could combine several of these references together. I wouldn't overwhelm myself with it, but you could combine the flower with the bird, but it can get a little bit too much. But that's another way to do it. Or I could take this this skull. Let's take the skull, and I'm going to move it over the top. and position it here. Let's say I kind of like that. And then I'm going to use a layer mask, and I'm going to click on option and call up a layer mask. So it disappears. And because the layer mask is black, so black conceals it, I'm just going to go to my paintbrush and paint with white so I can reveal it. And this is kind of a nice way to just slowly kind of paint in. I'm going to turn off this texture, right? And combine stuff right away. Oh, that's cool. I like the big against the smaller face, right? So this is a case where the big reference, the big use of the skull could really work well. You know, big eyes against a smaller nose and mouth. That's like fun. I'm painting with white, and that's revealing the mask. You can see over here, there's a white hole in the black mask. This is an advanced technique, but you could do a Google search on how to do it. It's a little bit, you know, confused working with masks, but you know, you can do it if you have some Photoshop experience. And I can, you know, move it around. Right, but that's kind of a quick way to get there too. And that's fun and experimental. So the point is to have fun, keep your momentum going, and create something unique. I would say you could continue to post your work every day. Let me come back on the stream here. Just continue to post your work every day. We're going to work on this for a couple weeks. So take the first week to develop your idea and just play around and do, you know, 2-3 hours of playing around and just enjoy it, right? And then when you hit on something good, then you can take the time of rendering, lighting, because what's going to make it look good is combining your reference and your element and putting them in the same light. So they're going to have the same light side and shadow side, cast shadows, form shadows, so they look integrated. So doing that will be kind of key. But this right now is just getting the idea. So it's just line drawing. It's messy, and but it's just for placement, getting the composition, getting the head placed right, and how to combine it with the elements. And then the next step will be adding value and color. So I can come in next week and do a live stream about how to progress with that if you need that. So I think that's about it for this. Let me just check if that's all that I want to talk about. Yeah. So you guys are doing great. It's really fun. I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun too. From some of the comments in the chat, I know people are having fun and discovering new things. So that's going to be it. I'm going to sign off now. So I will see you in the group. Post your stuff every day, your progress. And then, you know, next week, starting next week, you'll start on your final render. Okay, so you have a week to play with the ideas, get them worked up, and then a week to, you know, to draw it, paint it, or, you know, just add value. It could be black and white, that's fine, or you could add color. All right, so go nuts, keep on creating, loving it. Okay, you guys, I'm out of here. Bye-bye.